Hi there, Aries. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for September. The Sun is in the part of your scope that's to do with practicalities at the start of this month, so whether it's work, health, domestic chores, strangely, pets, and also aunts and uncles are influenced by the Sun in this part of your horoscope, and they can all feature strongly right through the first 3 weeks of September. But there is also a big change on the 2nd when Mercury moves into your opposite sign. This can be an excellent change because when Mercury moves into this area, it enables the flow of communication to move back and forwards just that much more easily. With Mercury also in Virgo for the first day of the month, that can lead to a certain amount of brittleness. What offsets that in the first 4 days of the month is that Venus does continue in Leo, your sister fire sign. However, once Venus moves into Virgo itself on the 5th, I do feel that you really have got something of a preoccupation with making sure that these practical streams are working well for you, especially when there's the full moon on the 8th. There's also a very big concentration of energy in week 2, and the best influence from that comes from the Sun's excellent angle to Saturn. And anything that you are doing that is trying to grapple with the detail of things but is linked to finances can transform in a very practical way as long as your plans are well grounded and sensible. But there is one other change that begins from the 10th, and that goes on right to the end of the month, and that sees Jupiter in Leo forge an absolutely stunning angle to Uranus in your sign. Now this is one of the best aspects we can possibly have when it comes to innovation, creativity, new ideas, being much more futuristic in your thinking. A lot of wonderful developments in the world of science have occurred when Jupiter and Uranus are cooperating. Sometimes it's been in the conjunction, sometimes it will be in the trine like this. But this is urging you to be much more open-minded to what you can go forwards with. Now, if you can link that to an attention to the details, which is what the Sun's asking you to do, then all's well and good. However, in a work-based relationship, as Venus goes face-to-face with Neptune in week 2, someone could seem a little bit hard to please, and you may find yourself actually going out of your way to try to appease them, but it won't necessarily work. And make sure that someone's not spinning you some kind of story to get you to do their bidding. Now there's also another major change at the heart of this month when your ruler bursts into the sign of Sagittarius. Now I think this can be really, really good for you. It can give you even greater zest for shaking up your world and being more radical in your approach. Now whether this is to do with your hobbies, your interest in terms of how you make money or earn a living, or just in terms of who you are as an individual, Mars is going to be pushing you over the following 60 days to be much more experimental. If you're interested in sports, the chances are you're going to be stepping up your fitness routines. Now the last 10 days of the month shifts in focus, with the Sun catching up with Mercury in your sector of relating. And then anything to do with relationships in a romantic context or colleagues or the people you live with come under the astral microscope. And you have a platform, especially on the back of the new moon later this month, to try to improve the status quo. Try to work on the issue of cooperation mostly. And as ever with communication, 9/10 of it, in my view, is an ability to listen to where other people are really coming from and responding in kind. So that's something you might want to stay mindful about. And then right on, as the month comes to a close, Venus moves into your 7th solar house too. Now, you're going to get the benefits of this in October, and of course I will tell you about it in detail then. But essentially, Venus moving into your 7th house is only bettered with where it was in your scope for the first 4 days of this month, and that's in the whole of each year. So it is an opportunity to really bring a much greater and more harmonizing vibe to all sorts of relationships as this month draws to a close. But I do feel that innovation, groundbreaking ideas, and thinking ahead of the pack rather than being someone who's a follower is something you can gain a great deal from. Thank you for joining me, good luck, and goodbye for now.